Hey everyone, this is Three Questions with Dr. Margaret Coates. There we go. Got music, everything. Margaret's just ready. All right. So I actually met Dr. Coates I don't know if we met a long time ago, but I was in your school district last year. And a couple of things. First of all, your school district is really, really nice. Like they're some of the nicest people ever. So I got to give a little shout out to Owasso. Did you know that was coming?
I love that.
And I
Yes.
and I will say this too. They also really like you.
Oh,
Which was like they were really, really excited for you and stuff like that. And I don't always see that with superintendents. I'm not gonna lie.
well, well,
Yeah.
that's nice. I appreciate that. Yeah, from them.
Yeah.
And I really like them. I really, really like them.
That's why they like you. That's what I could tell right away because you could tell how much of an advocate you are for your staff, for your community, for education in general. So, people can pick that up real, real quick. So I think that's why, because I remember sitting there, I'm like, oh, they like her. So
That
that's,
shouldn't be shocking. Yeah, I would hope that they like that other school districts like their superintendent. You would think, you
you
would
know what?
hope.
It shouldn't be shocking. I agree with you. Is it
Yeah,
shocking? We'll
should
see.
be.
We'll
Yeah.
find out in the comments down below. So, anyways, Dr. Coates is in Owasso, Oklahoma School District. Absolutely amazing group. Such kind people. Always pushing the edge, and I find that some of your people always reach out to me, and they're always so nice. So, really appreciate that. Margaret has actually done everything in education: teacher, principal, assistant superintendent, most of it in Owasso, but went a little way and they missed you and then you came back, right? And that's kind of what happened. So
I miss them. I miss them.
see, I
Yeah.
told you, how could you not like Margaret? Just amazing.
Because
So
I took a pay cut to come back to Owasso because I loved it so much. Seriously,
good. There
I
you go.
wanted to be back.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So, and I know they really, really appreciate you, and you're such a great team working all together. So, we're going to talk more about some of the stuff that you're doing in Owasso, some of the stuff you're doing, advocacy for public education. But let's learn about a little bit about some of the things that have inspired you. So, I know that you used to teach, and you told me you taught like you were doing math, which immediately made you way smarter than me because I could not teach high school math. I don't think I could pass high school math right now. So I really, really, maybe if you were teaching me, maybe I could have. I don't know. So, but yeah, so I immediately smarted me. But when you think of like great teachers you have had, whether it's someone you've worked with, someone you had as a student, who's someone you think of and why?
The person that came to mind when you posed this question to me, sent this question to me, was my sixth grade English teacher and my fifth grade basketball coach because they were married,
Hmm.
Mike and Ruth McLaughlin, and they lived in Collinsville. I went to school in Collinsville, which is just a small town north of Owasso where we are right now. And my they both taught they taught in the school system, and they also taught gymnastics after school, and so they encouraged me to take gymnastics after school and just embraced really me and my other some of my other friends too, just to try to do something different. Think about that, a gymnastics program in a small town Oklahoma after school, and they bought their own equipment and had this program because they just wanted to encourage young kids to do something different. But my fifth grade basketball coach, so it was Mr. McLaughlin, Mike McLaughlin, and he's the one that taught me how to play basketball and helped me get myself under control because I was crazy aggressive, and like he practically tied my hands behind my back because I could just like scrappy, slapping at the ball all the time. But he taught me how to play basketball. He played basketball for in college for ORU, Oral Roberts University, and so he was a college athlete and just very encouraging and fun and just funny. And but he also, I knew he cared, like he really, really cared about us. And then his wife, and then the next year, Ruth McLaughlin, my sixth grade English teacher, same thing. She just funny, would tease us, but high expectations. She gave me SWATs. She was the first and really only teacher, now to come to think of it, that gave me SWATs.
What's SWAT? What is that?
SWATs are, I got paddled with a board in sixth grade. Corporal punishment.
All right. It's gonna be
We used to
controversial.
have that.
Just so you know, I
We
got
used,
that too. I got it too when I was a kid. We didn't get with a board, just straight up hand, but still.
Oh my gosh. So I got it from my English teacher. So we used to have corporal punishment in Oklahoma, and no longer do we have it. But I got in trouble for talking so much in class. But even though I got in trouble and she gave me swats, and I still loved her because and it goes back to, we've said it a bunch of times, it's not about the subject.
Right.
It's about the fact that I knew that she was on my team. She cared about me and she wanted the best for me. And she wasn't afraid to challenge me and push me in the most loving way possible. So
I love it.
she's my favorite teacher
Let's give it up
and
for both of
inspired
them.
me.
I love that. So, it's funny, like this is a total generational thing. First of all, I probably the same thing when I was a kid. Like if I ever got, a little smack, I actually remember one teacher, won't say their name, they used to tell this duck hunting story, and they're like, birds that come from the right, birds that come from the left. That was like their way of getting you in trouble, and they'd smack you with each one. And
Yeah,
my parents are like, what did you do to deserve it? Totally different time in the world, right?
totally different.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing, right? Because we like, I
Yes,
think that's not that I'm like, hey, let's go back to hitting kids. Like, obviously not that, but the trust between teachers and families was so really important. I think it's something that we continuously work on in education because I think it makes such a difference. But I love that story because I know some of the teachers that I connected with the most had an interest in me outside of education, really wanted to ensure that I was, pushing myself to full potential. Maybe not the best student in school, but had things that, I did really well outside of school, which actually, when they saw that, weirdly enough, I started doing better in school because, you felt really appreciated as humans. All right. So let's talk about administrators. So I know that you're a principal. I know you're currently a superintendent. I will tell you this straight up. You work with some incredible principals, right? Because I've met them, incredible assistant principals. But when you think of an administrator who really inspired you, who's someone you think of and why?
I think of actually the first principal that I worked with. His name, can I said the other teacher's name? I guess I can say his name on the air. Is Don Huggins, who is amazing, and he's retired now. But Don Huggins inspired me because of his he. I was a teacher underneath him. He was my principal when I was a teacher here in Owasso, and he liked to have fun, but he also, again, it's that high expectations,
Yep.
and um, just treated everyone so well, but had high expectations at the same time, and was a strong disciplinarian, I would say, in that. But he treated everyone with dignity and respect, but just here's the rules, we're going to follow
Yep.
through, we're going to be consistent. So I just respected the way that he did it, the way he was a principal, the way he was an administrator. And so then he hired me. He gave me my first administrator position as assistant principal.
Hmm.
And so I got to work closely with him and see, kind of see how he thought and worked. And he was a former coach and teacher and kind of sort of the same, upbringing, but he was an athlete. He was a college athlete. So he was all about team and collaboration and just high expectations and challenge and treating everyone with respect. And at the end of the day, it was more about relationships and having just maintaining that with folks. He took time. He took time to ensure that teachers knew that he cared about them, and so that was inspiring to me because I find myself my personality is I have my list. I want to check things off my list, task oriented and want to
Right.
achieve these things. And so in a hurry, get all this stuff done. So he was a good model for like, just slow down. Those things will be there for you later. The task, the checklist, people first, paper second. So take care of people first.
I love that. I love that. There's sometimes a disconnect that like we talk about relationships and how important that is. And some people are like, oh, relationships are, like they're really not the most important thing in education. And I truly believe this. They're not the end all be all of what we do, right? Like it's not just getting someone to like us, but I always say this, that if someone cares about you, when they challenge you, you're more likely to go when they got your back. That's where it really really stands out to me. that focus on high expectations, when you are working with people and they have high expectations and you appreciate them, I think what happens is that you develop high expectations for yourself. And that's the ultimate, right? Is that, will I
Yeah.
do this if someone's not on my case, if someone's not on me? When I looked at, when I would hire administrators, it was people that I knew I could challenge, but eventually I didn't have to do that for them to do well. I think that's a really important thing. And that's what we expect from our students. So I absolutely love that. All right. So I know you have different experiences. Not only did you work in the field of education, you worked, outside of it before as well. But if you can go back to your very first year of teaching, what advice would you give to yourself?
Gosh, the advice I would give to myself is, um, gosh, that first year was so, I felt isolated and sort of alone. And I probably should have done, I would advise others to, like what I'm advising my son, who's a first year teacher, when he is struggling with things, what I've said to him is, reach out to your team, go talk to your neighbor, go find someone else. How do they handle that? Go ask your, department lead how they're handling that. And as far as anything that's happening in the classroom, because intellectually, academically, looking at standards and things, he's going to figure out all that side of it. It's the how to handle the little people in the classroom, and parents and all the other things that happen, because as a first year teacher, you've not had those experiences yet. And so I should have probably, would advise my first year self is, don't be afraid to reach out to your colleagues and ask questions and ask for support and help. I think I probably felt like if I asked for help, maybe they would think that I didn't know how to do my job, or I wasn't,
Right.
I shouldn't have been hired because if I don't know how to do it, why, that sort of thing. So don't, it's a sign of strength to go ask for help, not a sign of weakness.
Love it. And I was thinking about this. So as soon as you gave that advice, I started thinking about my very first year of teaching. And there was times where I would avoid the staff room. I would kind of like eat by myself. I had moved for the first time away from my family. I was in this very small town, really didn't know anybody. And so the counter advice I would give this to, and I say it's supplementary instead of counter, is, veteran teachers, make sure you check in on some of those first year people, because I was so blessed. I'll say Marilyn Stork, she was in the community. She always checked in on me. She'd invite me over to, dinner with her family. And it just made my life so much better, and easier too, but better, and really still have this connection. And, that was, geez, I started teaching in 1999 and it is 2024 and I haven't seen her in probably 20 some years. She's checking in on me. We just had a hurricane in the area and she's checking on me yesterday, which is amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So and she just went out of her way. So it's just,
That's awesome.
yeah.
No,
So I
that's
just
great
thought about that
advice.
too. Yeah. So
That is
I
great
appreciate you
advice.
sharing that, because I was thinking about was I connected? And I was like, sometimes I just needed someone to pull me in instead of going there too, because
Yeah,
it's
it's
still
kind of that
nerve-wracking
flip
about a new community too. So I so appreciate you taking time. I know you're super super busy, so I appreciate you taking time. But make sure you say hi to everyone from me. I can't wait to talk to you more. But thanks everyone for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day.